The fluorescent lights hummed in the empty office building as Brianna Turner gathered her belongings at 9:47 p.m. She was the last one on the floor, or so she thought. As she walked past the break room, she heard a sound that made her stomach drop. Someone was crying, the kind of desperate sobbing that only comes when you've run out of options. Brianna pushed the door open slowly. Patricia Coleman, a woman from accounting who always had a kind word for everyone, sat hunched over the small table. Her hands covered her face, and her shoulders shook with each sob. Papers were scattered in front of her, stamped with red letters that Brianna could read from the doorway. Final notice. Eviction warning. Patricia. Brianna's voice was soft, careful not to startle her. The older woman's head snapped up, revealing tear-stained cheeks and red-rimmed eyes. She quickly tried to wipe her face, shoving the papers into her bag. "Oh, Brianna. I didn't think anyone was still here. I'm sorry, I just needed a moment." Brianna set her bag down and pulled out a chair, sitting across from Patricia. "What's wrong? Please, maybe I can help." Patricia shook her head, fresh tears spilling down her face. "No one can help. I'm 3 months behind on rent. They're evicting us next week. My kids and me, we're going to be on the street. I've been picking up every extra shift I can, but my daughter needed medication, and my son needed new shoes for school. The money just disappeared. How much do you need?" Brianna asked directly. $4,000, Patricia whispered. "I might as well need $4 million. I've called every assistance program, every church, every family member. There's nothing left." Brianna's mind raced. She had been saving money since she started her internship 6 months ago. She lived in a tiny studio apartment, rode the bus everywhere, and brought lunch from home every day. She had managed to save almost $5,000, money she was planning to use for a security deposit on a better apartment and maybe finally buying a reliable car. "I can give you the money," Brianna said quietly. Patricia's eyes went wide. "What? No, Brianna, you're an intern. You can barely be making enough to survive yourself. I can't take money from you. You're not taking it. I'm giving it." Brianna pulled out her phone and opened her banking app. "What's your account number? I can transfer it right now." "Brianna, no." Patricia was crying harder now. "That's your future. That's probably everything you've saved." "My future is fine. I'm young, I don't have kids depending on me, I don't have rent due next week." "You do." Brianna looked Patricia in the eyes. "Please let me help. Your kids need a home. That's more important than anything I was saving for." Patricia covered her mouth with her hand, overcome with emotion. After a long moment, she pulled out a crumpled piece of paper and wrote down her account information with shaking hands. Brianna typed in the numbers and transferred $4,000. Her savings account balance dropped from $4,847 to $847 in an instant. She showed Patricia the confirmation screen. "It's done. You can pay your rent tomorrow morning." Patricia stood up and pulled Brianna into a tight hug, sobbing into her shoulder. "Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know how I'll ever repay you." "You don't have to repay me," Brianna said gently. "Just take care of your kids and yourself. That's all I need." They sat together for another hour. Brianna helped Patricia organize all her bills and create a budget plan to help her get back on track. She showed her some community resources she had found online and helped her fill out applications for assistance programs she'd missed. By the time they left the building at nearly midnight, Patricia looked like a different person. The desperation was gone from her eyes, replaced with hope. What neither of them knew was that every moment had been captured in crystal-clear detail by the security cameras positioned throughout the office. And in a penthouse apartment 15 blocks away, someone was watching. Have you ever helped someone even when it cost you everything you had? Drop a comment below and share your story. And if this touched your heart, subscribe so you never miss moments that remind us what really matters in life. Brianna barely slept that night. She lay in her small apartment, staring at the ceiling and thinking about her depleted bank account. She wasn't worried exactly, just adjusting to the new reality. She'd need to be even more careful with money now. Maybe she could pick up weekend work somewhere. But every time doubt crept in, she remembered Patricia's face when she realized her children wouldn't be homeless. That memory was worth more than any savings account. The next morning, Brianna arrived at work at her usual time, 7:30 a.m. She made her coffee in the break room, the cheap instant kind she bought in bulk, and settled at her small desk in the corner of the marketing department. Her supervisor, a woman named Teresa, usually didn't arrive until 9 a.m., so Brianna used the quiet morning hours to catch up on filing and data entry. At 8:15 a.m., her desk phone rang. The caller ID showed an extension she didn't recognize. "This is Brianna Turner," she answered professionally. "Miss Turner, this is Jennifer from Mr. Blake's office." The voice was crisp and efficient. "Mr. Blake would like to see you in his office at 9 a.m. sharp. Please don't be late." The line went dead before Brianna could respond. Her heart started pounding. Harrison Blake was the CEO of Blake Industries, a manufacturing and distribution company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. In her 6 months as an intern, she had never seen him in person, only in the professional photos hanging in the lobby and scattered throughout the company website. Why would he want to see her? Brianna's mind raced through possibilities. Had she made some terrible mistake? Was she being fired? But interns didn't get called to the CEO's office for termination. That didn't make sense. The morning crawled by. Brianna tried to focus on her work, but her hands were shaking. At 8:55 a.m., she took the elevator to the top floor, something she'd never done before. The executive level was quiet, carpeted in plush gray, with original artwork on the walls. Everything screamed money and power. Jennifer, a middle-aged woman with perfectly styled hair, sat at a desk outside a large oak door. "Miss Turner, you're right on time. Go ahead in. Mr. Blake is expecting you." Brianna smoothed down her simple black dress, took a deep breath, and knocked on the door. "Come in," a deep voice called. She pushed open the door and stepped into the most impressive office she'd ever seen. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. The furniture was clearly expensive, but not showy. Everything was tasteful and professional. Harrison Blake stood from behind his desk. He was tall, probably 6'2", with dark hair starting to gray at the temples. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit, but his tie was loosened slightly, and his sleeves were rolled up to his elbows. He looked approachable despite the obvious wealth and power. "Miss Turner, thank you for coming. Please, sit down." He gestured to a leather chair across from his desk. Brianna sat, trying not to look as nervous as she felt. "Of course, Mr. Blake. How can I help you?" Harrison studied her for a moment, his expression thoughtful. Then he picked up a tablet from his desk and turned it to face her. On the screen was a frozen image from security camera footage. It showed her and Patricia in the break room the night before. Brianna's breath caught. Was she in trouble for being in the building so late? "I review security footage periodically," Harrison said quietly. "It's something I started doing after we had a theft issue a few years ago. Last night, I was going through yesterday's recordings, and I saw something that stopped me in my tracks." He pressed play. Brianna watched herself on screen, talking to Patricia, pulling out her phone, making the transfer. The audio was clear enough to hear their conversation. She heard herself say, "You're not taking it. I'm giving it." Harrison paused the video. "You gave her $4,000. According to HR records, that's more than a month of your intern salary. That was probably most or all of your savings." "Yes, sir," Brianna said quietly. "Is that a problem? I know it was after hours, but we weren't doing anything wrong." Patricia needed help. "A problem?" Harrison leaned back in his chair. "Miss Turner, in 20 years of running this company, I have never seen anything like what I witnessed on that video. You gave away everything you had to help a coworker you barely know. You didn't hesitate. You didn't ask for anything in return." He stood and walked to the window, looking out at the city. "My father built this company from nothing. He taught me that the true measure of a person isn't what they do when people are watching. It's what they do when they think no one can see. You had no idea anyone would know about your kindness. You did it simply because it was right." Harrison turned back to face her. I called you up here because I want to offer you something, and I need you to understand that this isn't charity. This is recognition of the kind of person you are." Brianna's heart was racing. "I'm offering you a full-time position as my executive assistant. The salary is $75,000 a year, plus full benefits, retirement matching, and annual bonuses. You'll work directly with me, learning every aspect of this business. I'll mentor you personally." Brianna felt tears prick her eyes. $75,000. That was more money than she'd ever imagined making, especially not at 24 years old. "Mr. Blake, I don't know what to say. That's incredibly generous." "Say yes," Harrison said with a slight smile. "Say you'll take the position and let me help you the way you helped Patricia." Brianna thought about refusing, about saying it was too much. But she remembered what she'd told Patricia. When someone offers help, you accept it with gratitude. You don't let pride get in the way. "Yes," she said, her voice strong and clear. "Thank you so much, Mr. Blake. I accept, and I promise I'll work harder than anyone you've ever hired." "I believe you will," Harrison said. "Welcome to the team, Brianna. Your new position starts Monday." Brianna spent the rest of that Friday in a daze. After leaving Harrison Blake's office, she'd immediately gone to HR to complete the necessary paperwork for her new position. The benefits package alone was overwhelming. Health insurance, dental, vision, 401k matching up to 6%, 3 weeks paid vacation, and a performance bonus structure that could add another 20% to her salary. When she finally left the building at 5 p.m., she sat in the bus stop shelter and pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking as she called her mother. "Mama, you're not going to believe what happened today." By the time she finished the story, her mother was crying. "Baby girl, this is your blessing. You gave when you had nothing to give, and now look what came back to you." That weekend, Brianna allowed herself one small celebration. She bought a nice blazer from a consignment shop and got her hair professionally done. Monday morning, she would start her new life. What Brianna didn't know was that Harrison Blake had spent the entire weekend thinking about her too. He'd watched that security footage a dozen times, each viewing revealing something new about her character. The way she didn't hesitate. The way she looked Patricia in the eyes and spoke with such certainty. The way she stayed for an hour afterward to help organize bills and research resources. Harrison had been raised with money. His father, Harrison Blake Sr., had built the company from a small distribution center into a manufacturing empire. Harrison had attended the best schools, traveled the world, and had every advantage. But his father had also taught him that wealth meant nothing without character, and character was revealed in how you treated people who could do nothing for you. On Sunday evening, Harrison sat in his home office reviewing Brianna's employment file. Her resume was modest but solid. She'd graduated from a state university with a degree in business management. Her grades were excellent. Her recommendation letters all praised her work ethic and attitude. But nothing on paper could have predicted what he'd seen on that video. He thought about his own life. At 38, he was successful by every conventional measure. The company was thriving. He had a beautiful penthouse apartment, drove a luxury car, and could buy almost anything he wanted. But he was also lonely. His last relationship had ended 2 years ago when he realized his girlfriend was more interested in his bank account than in him as a person. Harrison shook his head, forcing himself back to the present. Brianna was his new assistant, nothing more. She was also 16 years younger than him and probably had her own life and relationships. This was purely professional. He was giving her an opportunity because she deserved it, and he needed someone with integrity working closely with him. Monday morning arrived crisp and clear. Harrison was at his desk by 6:30 a.m., as usual. Jennifer had arranged for Brianna to arrive at 8 a.m. for orientation and training. At precisely 8 a.m., there was a soft knock on his door. "Come in." Brianna entered, and Harrison was struck by how different she looked. The nervous intern from Friday had been replaced by a confident young woman in a professional navy blazer and cream-colored blouse. Her hair was styled in natural curls that framed her face beautifully. She carried a leather portfolio and wore a genuine smile. "Good morning, Mr. Blake. I'm ready to start whenever you are." Good morning, Brianna. And please, when it's just us, call me Harrison. We're going to be working very closely together, and I prefer to keep things somewhat informal. Harrison, then, she said, testing out the name. Over the next 3 hours, Harrison walked her through her responsibilities. She would manage his calendar, attend all his meetings to take notes and track action items, help him prepare presentations and reports, and generally serve as his right hand in running the company. It was a demanding job that would require intelligence, discretion, and the ability to think on her feet. Brianna absorbed everything like a sponge. She asked thoughtful questions and took detailed notes. When Harrison explained a complex financial concept, she grasped it immediately and even suggested a way to present the data more clearly. He found himself impressed all over again. At noon, Jennifer brought in lunch. Harrison had ordered from a nearby restaurant, enough for both of them. As they ate, their conversation shifted from business to more personal topics. "Tell me about yourself," Harrison said. "Where did you grow up?" "Southside," Brianna said. "My mom raised me and my 2 brothers by herself. She worked 2 jobs most of my childhood. We didn't have much, but she made sure we had what we needed. She's the strongest person I know." "That must have been difficult." "It was, but it taught me to work hard and appreciate what I have. When I got the internship here, it felt like all those years of struggle were finally leading somewhere." She paused. "And now this opportunity, it's more than I ever dreamed." Harrison nodded thoughtfully. "You know, my father started this company with nothing. He understood struggle. One of the last things he said to me before he died was to never forget that success is meaningless if you achieve it by stepping on others. He told me to build a company where good people could thrive." "He sounds like a wise man." He was. Harrison looked at her directly. "That's why what you did for Patricia mattered so much to me. You embody the values my father taught me. You're the kind of person I want representing this company." Brianna met his gaze. "I won't let you down." "I know you won't," Harrison said, and he meant it. The first month of Brianna's new position flew by in a whirlwind of meetings, reports, and learning curves. She arrived at the office by 7:30 every morning and rarely left before 6 p.m. Harrison was a demanding boss but also a patient teacher. When she made mistakes, which she did occasionally, he helped her understand what went wrong and how to fix it, never making her feel inadequate. Patricia had become a good friend. The older woman had been overwhelmed with gratitude when she learned that Brianna's kindness had led to her promotion. She tried to pay Brianna back immediately, but Brianna refused. "You're getting back on your feet. Use that money for your kids. We're friends now, and friends help each other." On a Thursday afternoon in late October, Harrison called Brianna into his office. She noticed he looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes. He'd been working on a major contract negotiation for weeks. "Sit down, please," he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. "I want to talk to you about something." Brianna sat, her professional notepad ready. "Put that away," Harrison said with a slight smile. "This isn't about work, exactly. It's more personal." She set the notepad aside, curious and a little nervous. "In the month you've been working for me, you've exceeded every expectation I had," Harrison began. "You're smart, dedicated, and you have an instinct for business that can't be taught. But more than that, you have integrity. You do the right thing even when it's difficult." "Thank you," Brianna said, genuinely touched. "I've been thinking about your future here," Harrison continued. "Right now, you're my assistant, and you're excellent at it. But I see potential in you for so much more. I'd like to offer you something beyond just employment." He pulled out a folder from his desk drawer and handed it to her. "This is a proposal for a mentorship program. I want to personally train you in every aspect of running a company. You'll attend strategy meetings, work directly with our department heads, learn finance, operations, marketing, everything. Within 5 years, I believe you could be running an entire division of this company." Brianna opened the folder, scanning the detailed plan. It included additional compensation, a continuing education budget, and a clear path to executive leadership. "This is incredible," she whispered. "But why me?" There are people here with years more experience. Because experience isn't everything, Harrison said firmly. I can teach someone how to read a balance sheet. I can't teach them how to care about people. I can't teach them integrity. You have something that's rare, Brianna. You have the character to lead. She felt tears welling up in her eyes. 6 weeks ago, she'd been a struggling intern, carefully counting every dollar. Now she was being offered a path to executive leadership by one of the most successful businessmen in the city. What do I need to do? She asked. Accept the offer. Commit to learning everything I can teach you. And trust that I see something in you that you might not see in yourself yet. Brianna thought about her mother's voice on the phone weeks ago. This is your blessing. She thought about what she'd told Patricia. When someone offers help, you accept it with gratitude. I accept, she said clearly. Thank you, Harrison. I promise I'll make you proud. Harrison smiled, a genuine warmth reaching his eyes. You already have. Over the next few weeks, Brianna's world expanded in ways she'd never imagined. Harrison brought her to high-level meetings where million-dollar deals were discussed. He introduced her to company leaders and industry contacts. He gave her projects that challenged her, and when she succeeded, he made sure others knew about it. But it wasn't all business. They also had quiet moments in the office, early mornings or late evenings when it was just the two of them, talking about life and dreams and the future. Harrison told her about his father's legacy and the pressure of living up to it. Brianna shared her struggles growing up and her determination to create a better life. They were becoming friends, though both of them were careful to maintain professional boundaries. Harrison was her boss and mentor. That had to come first. But there were moments, small ones, when their eyes would meet and linger just a second too long. When their hands would brush as they reached for the same document, and a spark of something more would flicker between them. Neither of them acknowledged it. Not yet. December arrived with its usual rush of holiday preparations and end-of-year business. Blake Industries always held a company-wide holiday party in mid-December, a tradition Harrison's father had started 30 years ago. This year, as Harrison's executive assistant and mentee, Brianna was heavily involved in the planning. We need to make sure every employee feels valued, Harrison said during one planning meeting. Order extra gift cards. I want everyone to receive something meaningful, not just token gifts. Brianna made notes, admiring his commitment to his employees. In the 3 months since her promotion, she'd learned that Harrison's kindness wasn't limited to dramatic gestures. It showed in 100 small ways. He knew the names of the cleaning staff. He asked about people's families. When one of the warehouse workers had a family emergency, Harrison quietly paid all the medical bills. The party was held at an upscale hotel ballroom. Brianna wore a simple but elegant black dress she'd bought with her first big paycheck. When she arrived, Patricia waved her over to a table where several of her new friends were sitting. You look beautiful, Patricia said, hugging her. And look at you now, planning company events and working with Mr. Blake directly. I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done any of it without you, Brianna said warmly. That night in the break room changed both our lives. Harrison arrived shortly after, and the party began. He gave a speech thanking everyone for their hard work and announcing record profits for the year. Then he announced that, thanks to the success, every employee would receive a bonus. The room erupted in applause and cheers. After the formal portion, the party shifted to a more casual atmosphere. A DJ played music, and people mingled and danced. Brianna found herself standing near the windows, looking out at the city lights, when Harrison approached. Enjoying yourself? He asked. Very much. This is a wonderful party. Your father would be proud. I hope so. Harrison stood beside her, also looking out at the city. You know, this is the first year I've actually enjoyed the holiday party. Usually, I'm counting the minutes until I can leave. Why is this year different? He glanced at her. Because I'm not here alone. I have someone I actually want to talk to. Brianna's heart skipped a beat. She told herself he meant as a friend and colleague, nothing more. But the way he was looking at her made her wonder. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you ever had a moment with someone where everything shifted, even though nothing was said out loud? Subscribe to see how this connection develops. Before either of them could say more, one of the board members approached to talk to Harrison. The moment passed, but Brianna couldn't stop thinking about it for the rest of the evening. After the party, Harrison offered to drive her home. It was snowing lightly, and the streets were getting slippery. Brianna accepted gratefully, texting her usual rideshare cancellation. His car was exactly what she expected, a sleek luxury sedan that probably cost more than most people made in a year. But he drove carefully, mindful of the weather. "Thank you for everything you did for the party," Harrison said as they navigated through the quiet streets. "It was perfect. It was a team effort. But you led the team. You're a natural leader, Brianna. I hope you're starting to see that in yourself." She smiled. "I'm learning. You're a good teacher. I'm a lucky mentor," he replied. "Not everyone gets to work with someone as talented as you." They pulled up in front of her apartment building. It was a modest place, but in a safe neighborhood. Harrison put the car in park. "I want to give you something," he said, reaching into the back seat. He pulled out a wrapped box. "Merry Christmas." "Harrison, you didn't have to get me anything. The bonus was already so generous. Just open it." Brianna unwrapped the box carefully. Inside was a beautiful leather briefcase, professional and elegant. Her initials were embossed in gold on the front. "BT. Harrison, this is too much." "It's not nearly enough," he said quietly. "You've changed my perspective on so many things, Brianna. You remind me why I do this work. Why it matters. That's worth more than any briefcase." She looked up at him, and for a moment, the air between them was charged with possibility. But then Brianna pulled back slightly, breaking the spell. "Thank you. Really. This means the world to me." "You're welcome. Have a wonderful Christmas, Brianna." She got out of the car and hurried into her building, her heart pounding. As she rode the elevator up to her apartment, she forced herself to think clearly. Harrison was her boss. He was 16 years older. He'd given her an incredible opportunity, and she couldn't jeopardize it by misreading the situation or developing inappropriate feelings. But as she lay in bed that night, holding the briefcase, she couldn't deny that something was growing between them. Something neither of them had acknowledged but both of them felt. January brought a fresh start and new challenges. Harrison had enrolled Brianna in an executive leadership course at a prestigious business school. She attended classes 2 evenings a week, and Harrison often helped her with the coursework, reviewing her case studies and offering his insights. One evening in late January, they were working late in his office on a particularly complex financial analysis for her class. The building was quiet, with most employees long gone. Snow fell steadily outside the windows, creating a peaceful, almost intimate atmosphere. "You're approaching this wrong," Harrison said, pointing at her spreadsheet. "You're focusing too much on the numbers and not enough on the story they're telling." He pulled his chair closer to hers so they could both see the screen. Brianna was acutely aware of his presence, the subtle scent of his cologne, the warmth radiating from him. "Business is about people," Harrison continued. "Numbers are just the language we use to communicate what people are doing. Look at this revenue dip in Q3. That's not just a number. That's customers who stopped buying. Why? What happened in their lives or in the market that changed their behavior?" Brianna studied the data with fresh eyes. "The competitor launched a new product line in August. Our customers switched because they offered features we didn't have." "Exactly. Now you're telling a story. That's what makes a good executive. The ability to see the human element behind the data." They worked together for another hour, and by the end, Brianna had completely restructured her analysis. It was stronger, more insightful, and told a compelling narrative. "You're brilliant," Harrison said as he reviewed the final version. The words were simple, but the way he said them made Brianna's breath catch. "I have a good teacher," she replied softly. Their eyes met, and this time, neither of them looked away. The moment stretched, full of unspoken words and feelings that neither was quite ready to acknowledge. Finally, Harrison cleared his throat and stood up. "It's late. I should get you home before the roads get worse." During the drive, they talked about everything except what had just happened in the office. Harrison told her about a new contract he was negotiating. Brianna shared a funny story from her class. They were both being carefully, deliberately normal. But when he pulled up in front of her building, Harrison didn't immediately say goodbye. Brianna, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Are you seeing anyone? Dating? Her heart started racing. No. I haven't had time, honestly. Between work and school and everything else, dating hasn't been a priority. Good, Harrison said, then immediately looked embarrassed. I mean, not good that you're not dating if that's what you want. I just meant, good, that's good to know. Brianna couldn't help but smile at his flustered response. It was endearing to see the confident CEO at a loss for words. What about you? She asked boldly. Are you seeing anyone? No. I haven't met anyone who. He trailed off, then met her eyes. I haven't met anyone interesting in a long time. The implication hung in the air between them. Brianna knew she should say goodnight and get out of the car. She knew they were standing on the edge of something that could change everything. But she couldn't make herself move. Harrison, she said quietly. What are we doing? I don't know, he admitted. But I know that every day I look forward to seeing you. I know that you're the first person I want to tell when something good happens. And I know that I'm supposed to be your mentor and nothing more, but I'm having a very hard time keeping things professional. Brianna's breath caught. I feel the same way. But I don't want to mess up everything you've given me. This job, the mentorship, it's changed my life. Nothing would change, Harrison said firmly. Your position here is yours because you earned it. Whether we explore this connection or not, that doesn't change. I need you to know that. But what if things don't work out? What if we try and it ruins everything? Harrison was quiet for a moment. You told Patricia that when someone offers help, you accept it with gratitude. Let me offer you something now. Let me take you to dinner. Not as your boss, but as a man who finds you fascinating and wonderful and can't stop thinking about you. Just one dinner. If you hate it, we'll never speak of it again, and I promise it won't affect our working relationship. Brianna looked at him, this successful, kind, complicated man who had changed her life. She thought about all the reasons she should say no. The age difference. The power dynamic. The risk of losing everything she'd worked for. But she also thought about how she felt when she was with him. How he challenged her to be better. How he saw potential in her that she'd never seen in herself. How his smile made her heart race. Yes, she said finally. I'd like that. One dinner. Harrison's face lit up with genuine joy. Saturday night. I'll pick you up at 7. Saturday at 7, she agreed. Friday morning brought chaos to Blake Industries. Brianna arrived at 7:30 to find Harrison already in his office, on the phone, his expression grim. Jennifer motioned for Brianna to wait. When Harrison finally hung up, he looked exhausted. We have a major problem. Our largest client, Patterson Manufacturing, is threatening to pull their contract. They represent 35% of our annual revenue. Brianna's stomach dropped. What happened? They received a shipment yesterday that was damaged. Apparently, the entire order is unusable. They're furious, and they're talking about moving all their business to our competitor. Can we replace the shipment? That's not the issue. We can replace it, but the damage was caused by a failure in our quality control process. They're questioning whether they can trust us going forward. Harrison ran his hand through his hair, a rare sign of stress. I have a meeting with their CEO on Monday. I need to convince him that this was an isolated incident and that we've fixed the problem. What can I do to help? I need you to dig into what went wrong. Talk to our warehouse manager, our quality control supervisor, anyone involved in that shipment. Find out exactly what failed and why. I need a full report by Sunday evening. I'll start immediately, Brianna said, already making notes. She spent Friday interviewing staff and reviewing documentation. By Friday evening, she had a clear picture of what had happened. A new employee in the warehouse had improperly loaded the shipment, causing damage during transport. The quality control checkpoint that should have caught the error had been skipped due to a scheduling conflict. But Brianna didn't stop there. She researched Patterson Manufacturing, learning about their business, their needs, and their pain points. She analyzed Blake Industries' relationship with them over the past 5 years. And she began developing a proposal for how to prevent similar issues in the future. Saturday morning, she texted Harrison, "Can we postpone dinner? I want to finish this report." His response came quickly, "Absolutely not. We're going to dinner. Bring your laptop if you want. We can work on it together afterward." That evening, Harrison picked her up at 7, as promised. Instead of a fancy restaurant, he took her to a quiet Italian place in a neighborhood she didn't know. It was cozy and intimate, with checkered tablecloths and candles on every table. "I thought you might prefer something low-key," Harrison said. "Given the stress of the past 2 days. This is perfect." They ordered dinner, and for the first hour, they didn't talk about work at all. They talked about books and movies and travel. Brianna learned that Harrison had studied abroad in college and fallen in love with Florence. He learned that she'd never left the country but dreamed of visiting Paris. "I'll take you," Harrison said impulsively. "When this Patterson situation is resolved, let's go to Paris. Just for a long weekend." "Harrison, we haven't even finished our first date," Brianna said with a laugh. "So we'll go on our second date in Paris." "I'm an optimistic planner." After dinner, they went back to Harrison's penthouse apartment. Brianna had never seen where he lived, and she was struck by how tasteful everything was. The furniture was expensive but comfortable. There was art on the walls, books on the shelves, and a stunning view of the city. They sat at his dining room table with their laptops and worked on the Patterson proposal together. Harrison shared his strategic insights. Brianna contributed her research and fresh perspective. By midnight, they had a comprehensive plan. "This is good," Harrison said, reviewing the final draft. "Really good. If Patterson doesn't accept this, they're unreasonable." Brianna yawned, exhausted from the long day. "Stay here tonight," Harrison said. "I have a guest room. It's late, and you're tired. I'll drive you home in the morning." She should have said no. But she was tired, and his offer was sincere and appropriate. "Okay. Thank you." He showed her to the guest room, which was beautifully appointed with its own bathroom. He brought her fresh towels and a new toothbrush. "Good night, Brianna. And thank you for everything you did today. You went above and beyond." "We're a team," she said simply. "That's what teams do." Sunday passed in a blur of preparation. Harrison and Brianna spent the entire day refining their presentation, anticipating questions, and rehearsing responses. By Sunday evening, they were as ready as they could be. "I'm scared," Brianna admitted as they sat on Harrison's couch, taking a break. "What if we lose this contract? That's a lot of jobs that would be affected." "We're not going to lose it," Harrison said confidently. "We have a strong plan, and we're going to execute it perfectly. But even if we did lose it, we'd survive. The company has weathered challenges before. How do you stay so calm?" "I'm not calm. I'm terrified. But I learned a long time ago that panicking doesn't help anyone. What helps is having good people around you who you trust." He looked at her meaningfully. "People like you." Brianna felt warmth spread through her chest. "I'm glad I'm here with you." "So am I." What would you do if your entire career depended on one meeting? Comment below and subscribe to see if they save the company. Monday morning arrived grey and cold. Harrison wore his most expensive suit, projecting confidence and success. Brianna wore a professional dress and the blazer she'd bought months ago, carrying the briefcase Harrison had given her for Christmas. They arrived at Patterson Manufacturing's headquarters at 9 a.m. The CEO, Donald Patterson, was a stern-looking man in his 60s. He greeted them coolly and led them to a conference room where 3 other executives were waiting. "Let's get right to it," Patterson said without preamble. "You've lost $500,000 worth of our product through negligence. Why shouldn't we take our business elsewhere?" Harrison didn't flinch. Because mistakes, while unfortunate, happen in any business relationship. What matters is how we respond. We're not here to make excuses. We're here to show you exactly what went wrong, how we've fixed it, and how we're going to make sure it never happens again. For the next hour, Harrison and Brianna presented their findings and proposals. They were honest about the failures. They outlined new quality control procedures. They offered compensation for the lost shipment plus a discount on the next 3 orders. And they presented data showing their overall track record over 5 years, proving that this was truly an isolated incident. Patterson and his team asked tough questions. Brianna handled most of them, her research and preparation evident in every answer. She was poised, professional, and completely in command of the material. Finally, Patterson sat back in his chair. "I'll be honest. I expected you to come in here and make excuses. But you owned your mistake and presented a credible plan to prevent it from happening again. Miss Turner, your analysis was particularly impressive." "Thank you, sir," Brianna said. Patterson looked at Harrison. "You've got a good team, Blake. We're going to continue the contract, but we'll be watching closely." "That's all I ask," Harrison said, extending his hand. After they left the building and got into the car, Harrison let out a huge breath. "We did it." "You did it," Brianna corrected. "No. We did it. Together." Harrison started the car but didn't pull out of the parking space. Instead, he turned to face her. "Brianna, I need to tell you something. When I gave you that job 3 months ago, it was because I saw potential in you. But now, working with you like this, seeing how brilliant and capable you are, I realize I didn't even know the half of it. You saved this company today. We saved it together," she insisted. "Partnerships like this are rare," Harrison said quietly. "In business and in life. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose you." "You won't," Brianna promised. After the Patterson meeting, Harrison declared they were taking the rest of the day off. They deserved it after the stress of the past 4 days. He drove them to a park along the river, and they walked the paths, enjoying the cold January air and the feeling of accomplishment. "I need to be honest with you about something," Harrison said as they sat on a bench overlooking the water. "That first night, when I saw you on the security footage helping Patricia, something shifted in me. I've spent the last few years feeling disconnected from people, always wondering if they wanted me or my money. But watching you give away everything you had without a second thought, I realized I'd been surrounding myself with the wrong people." "You were looking for genuine kindness," Brianna said. "I was looking for someone like you." Harrison turned to face her fully. "This was supposed to be just about mentorship. I was going to help you develop your career and keep everything professional. But somewhere along the way, I fell for you. Not because you work for me, not because of any power dynamic, but because of who you are. The way you see the world. The way you care about people. The way you challenge me to be better." Brianna's heart was pounding. "Harrison, I feel the same way. I've been trying not to because of our working relationship, because of our age difference, because of all the logical reasons this shouldn't happen. But I can't help it. When I'm with you, I feel like the best version of myself." "So what do we do?" Harrison asked. "We be honest. With ourselves and with each other." Brianna took his hand, the first time they'd held hands outside of a professional handshake. "I care about you. I want to see where this goes. But I also love my job and my career. We need to find a way to balance both." "We will," Harrison promised. "I'll talk to HR tomorrow. We'll make sure everything is documented properly and ethically. You're not just my employee, Brianna. You're my partner in every way that matters." He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. But she didn't want to pull away. She met him halfway, and their first kiss was soft and sweet and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, Brianna was smiling. "That was worth waiting for. We're just getting started," Harrison said. Over the next few weeks, they navigated their new relationship carefully. Harrison spoke with HR and the board of directors, ensuring complete transparency. Brianna continued to excel in her role, proving to everyone that their relationship didn't affect her professional competence. They kept things private at first, not because they were ashamed but because they wanted to establish their foundation before dealing with outside opinions. But word eventually spread, as it always does in offices. Most people were happy for them. A few were skeptical. Harrison and Brianna handled it all with grace and dignity, never making their relationship the center of attention at work. Patricia was thrilled when she found out. "I knew it," she said, hugging Brianna. "I saw the way he looked at you at the holiday party. That man is in love with you." "We're taking things slow," Brianna said, though she was smiling. "Honey, after what I've watched you two go through together, there's nothing slow about it. You're perfect for each other." 6 months later, Brianna stood in front of the mirror in Harrison's penthouse apartment, adjusting her dress. It was a beautiful summer evening, and Harrison was taking her to a charity gala, the first public event they would attend together as a couple. So much had changed in half a year. Brianna had been promoted again, this time to junior executive in charge of client relations. She'd earned the position through her work on the Patterson account and several other successful projects. The mentorship program Harrison had designed for her was going beautifully, and she was on track to run her own division within 2 years. More importantly, her relationship with Harrison had deepened into something real and lasting. They balanced each other perfectly. She challenged him to stay connected to the human side of business. He encouraged her to dream bigger than she'd ever imagined. They were partners in every sense of the word. "You look beautiful," Harrison said, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. "But then again, you always do. You clean up pretty well yourself," Brianna teased, turning in his arms to straighten his bow tie. At the gala, they mingled with other business leaders and philanthropists. Brianna held her own in every conversation, impressing people with her knowledge and poise. Harrison watched her with obvious pride. Late in the evening, Harrison led her out to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The summer air was warm, and the lights of downtown twinkled below them. "I've been thinking about the future," Harrison said. "About what I want and where I'm going. And every version of the future I imagine has you in it." Brianna's breath caught. "Harrison, I'm not asking you to marry me tonight," he said with a smile. "I know we've only been together for 6 months. But I want you to know my intentions. I'm serious about you, about us. I see a life together. A real partnership, in business and in everything else." "I want that too," Brianna said softly. "You've given me so much. Not just career opportunities, but confidence in myself. You've shown me that I'm capable of more than I ever dreamed." "You gave me something too," Harrison said. "You reminded me what matters. What's worth working for. It's not money or success or power. It's connecting with people. Making a difference. Building something meaningful with someone you love." "Someone you love?" Brianna repeated, her heart racing. "Yes. I love you, Brianna Turner. I have for a while now, but I wanted to be sure you were ready to hear it." "I love you too," she said, tears filling her eyes. "I love you so much." They kissed under the stars, two people who had found each other in the most unexpected way and built something beautiful together. 3 months later, Harrison proposed on the anniversary of the day Brianna had helped Patricia in the break room. He took her back to that same break room late at night, the same place where her kindness had started everything. The room was filled with candles and flowers, and he got down on one knee with a ring that sparkled in the soft light. "You changed my life in this room," Harrison said. "You showed me what true character looks like. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Brianna said, crying and laughing at the same time. "Yes, absolutely yes." 1 year after that, they were married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Patricia was there, along with her children, healthy and happy. Brianna's mother cried tears of joy. And Harrison's eyes never left his bride. At the reception, Harrison gave a toast. "A wise person once told me that the true measure of character is what you do when no one is watching. My wife, Brianna, taught me that lesson. She gave everything she had to help someone in need, never expecting anything in return. And by doing so, she changed both our lives forever. To kindness, to second chances, and to love." Everyone raised their glasses. Brianna looked around at all the people who had become part of her life. She thought about the scared intern she'd been just 2 years ago, worried about money and the future. She thought about the night she'd found Patricia crying, the decision to help that had set everything else in motion. She'd learned that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. That taking a risk on kindness is always worth it. That accepting help with grace is just as important as giving it. And that love, real love, is about partnership and respect and growing together. As she danced with Harrison, their first dance as husband and wife, Brianna felt complete. She'd found her person, her partner, her home. And it had all started with one simple act of kindness on a late night in an empty office building. "What are you thinking about?" Harrison murmured as they swayed to the music. "I'm thinking about how grateful I am. For all of it. For Patricia needing help, for you watching that security footage, for every moment that led us here." "I'm the grateful one," Harrison said. "You gave me everything that matters." "We gave each other everything," Brianna corrected. "That's what partnership means." "Then here's to partnership," Harrison said, kissing her softly. "For the rest of our lives." "For the rest of our lives," Brianna agreed. And as the music played and their loved ones celebrated around them, Brianna knew that this was just the beginning. Together, she and Harrison would build a life full of love, success, and continued kindness to others. They would run Blake Industries as partners, creating opportunities for people who needed them. They would raise a family someday, teaching their children the same values they both held dear. The scared intern and the lonely CEO had found each other in the most unexpected way. And now, together, they would build something beautiful that would last forever.